Yo, what's going on YouTube? My name is Ken and welcome back to another weekly review of WWE Raw. Now I'm really excited. I just finished watching Raw. It just finished actually 2 whole minutes ago. And yeah, so PW Mania are the site who have all the results up. It was a pretty decent show. Wasn't as hot as last week's show, but last week's show was the original, if you know what I mean, sparking of the new era. So yeah, here you can see the logo, and we opened up with a little package about what happened last week with Sasha Banks winning and Finn Balor and all that. And then the boss, Sasha Banks, came out and talked about her winning the title last week. Charlotte came out. Then they went back and forth for a while. Then Chris Jericho walked out to the ring, started defending Charlotte, which was actually pretty cool. And then Enzo came out, and Enzo and Sasha, you know, if you watch the show, you know what happened. And yeah, that led to a mixed tag team match. Now this segment went for a long time, but it felt fresh since it had different superstars, and it just felt really fresh, if you know what I mean. Now, Enzo and Kat, well, not Enzo and Kat, actually. Enzo, Amore, and Sasha Banks versus Chris Jericho and Charlotte. It was a pretty decent match. It was probably the best, what do you call it? Probably the best mixed tag team match in a while. Well, we haven't really seen many, but, Charlotte and Jericho picked up the victory. After the match, Jericho talks trash to Enzo, and then Big Cass comes out, defends Enzo, and yep, they showed a bit about the Bellas at the Teen Choice Awards or whatever. Braun Strowman versus a jobber in Evan Anderholm. Byron Saxton was in the ring and he asked him why he you know, is even having this match, why he even contemplated it, and Evan said, if I participate, I get $1,000, and if I win, I get $5,000. And then Braun Strowman gets on to ruin him, just another jobber match. Braun had another jobber last week. Well, he had a jobber last week and this week. Then Stephanie and Mick Foley were there backstage having a little chat. Mark Henry came up and talked about him being the ambassador to the Summer Olympics and how the Hall of Pain has been renovated and it's ready to open again, and he asks for a match, and Foley says he'll give him one shot better. He'll give him a championship match against Rusev, and Henry is all excited. And yeah, R-Truth is again playing Pokemon Go. Goldust got a bit, you know, like, come on man, and that led to the Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars, in which the Shining Stars picked up the victory because R-Truth was too busy playing Pokemon. After the break, Finn Balor, and then NBA stars Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dwight Howard were at ringside. Michael Cole introduces Finn Balor. Michael Cole, I believe, asks him a question, then Rollins comes out, pushes Cole out the way, says, I got this one. They have a little back to forth promo, which was pretty good, I believe. Did its job, and yeah, that set up for Rollins vs. Sami Zayn, which I was very hyped about. And yeah, Balor actually did a very good job. Rollins messed up on one line, but you know, it doesn't really matter. He came back from it quickly, and it didn't even matter. And then a little bit of back and forth. Balor hits him with a Pele kick, and yeah, even though Michael Cole's still calling it an overhead kick. Anyway, they announced that later on it will be the New Day versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and one member of the New Day is banned from ringside. Then we had the Mark Henry vs. Rusev match for the championship. Rusev won pretty quickly, and this is what I'm actually excited about out of the US title. Roman Reigns came out. Now, you know I'm not the biggest fan of Roman Reigns, but I don't mind him. He came out, and that sets up Rusev and Roman Reigns, and I'm happy about that. Some people aren't, but I'll tell you why. Because that sets up Reigns and Rusev, which won't be a bad match, and it elevates the US title so much since Reigns has been in the main event for the last few months. That elevates it so much, and now we just need a big challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. they had a bit of hype for Nia Jax, a little bit of a vignette showing what she's done and her theme song over the top of it. Then we had Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. Wasn't a horrible match, but Titus O'Neil won when he used the tights Backlund, and Darren Young wasn't happy about that. You could hear him yelling back and forth. Titus O'Neil, I don't believe this fits in his character, because Titus is meant to be this fatherly type figure, but, you know, fathers shouldn't cheat. Is this a sign that... yeah. So, Titus won. That match was kind of throwaway, just a time filler. Then we had Backlund and... we had Backlund and what's-his-face backstage. Titus backstage, and then they have a little bit of a screaming match. Stephanie's backstage with Foley, and then Sheamus appears and asks if the superstars are a joke to them, and why Mark Henry gets a shot. Then Cesaro comes in and says he should get a shot to be the US champion, but really Reigns is getting a shot. And then they bring up that Cesaro didn't even want to be on Raw, and that he got drafted so late because of his shoulder, which is stupid because he's been in heaps of matches and his shoulder's done nothing, like there's just tape on it. And then they say, instead of taking it out on us, you two have a match tonight, and the winner gets a shot at the championship. Next are Ariel Monroe versus Nia Jax, another squash match. Both Nia Jax and Braun Strowman got squash matches this week and last week. Nia Jax made quick work of her, and yeah, that was done. Then I believe it was Byron Saxton went in for an interview, asked how it feels to be competing on Raw. She goes and bloody smashes Ariel Monroe again and says, why don't you ask her? Then we have a little bit of a backstage interview with Tom Phillips and Sami Zayn. Sami says that Rollins has a big mouth, kind of like Kevin Owens, and Sami beat Kevin Owens. And yep. Then we see the New Day backstage with some fruit. They come out with their fruits, and you know, they were trying to make a penis. They were going to make a penis with the fruits, but they didn't because it's a PG show. And New Day won by a roll-up pin. And yeah, Xavier Woods wasn't able to perform in front of his home crowd, which he did with his mum and dad and sister and dog. And then so the New Day won, and then Gallows and Anderson attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked, and then they died. Yeah, pretty much. And then they died. They didn't die. Big E got injured. He was taken backstage. New Day were like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And then yeah, so after match beatdown, after losing, then we had Sheamus versus Cesaro. It wasn't a terrible match. I believe it was like the longest match of the night, but Cesaro won, which I was happy about, which if they stick to their word, gives Cesaro a title match. Then they had a Brock Lesnar commercial. Sheamus and Cesaro were having a brawl, and then Heath Slater came out with Jinder Mahal, and I'm like, Jinder freaking Mahal! Oh my god, I was kind of hoping for Drew McIntyre, but I know that wouldn't happen because of what he's doing with TNA right now. But like, Jinder Mahal, we don't need you. And even worse, Foley comes out and sets up a match between them, and then Jinder Mahal's like, yeah, and the winner gets a Raw contract, and Jinder Mahal was behind him. Heath Slater was like, no, I don't want to do this to my friend. He turns around, gets nailed in the head by Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal wins. What the hell? How does Jinder Mahal get a contract over Heath Slater? Anyway, Jinder goes, Foley says, welcome to Raw, and picks up his contract. Then Tom Phillips has an interview with Chris Jericho. It was actually really good, I reckon. Kevin Owens said he has his back. And yeah, it was a really good interview. Then we had a Rollins vs. Zayn commercial, which led to their match after the commercial. And then Sami Zayn vs. Seth Rollins. I liked the match. Seth Rollins won, which I believe he should have. Rollins stands tall. It was a good match. The highlight was probably the big DDT or the Michinoku driver. Yeah, it was a good match, but I believe it should have gone on for longer and should have been a better match because these two can put on a show. Then we see Paul Heyman walk out of Brock's locker room and he says, "I'll see you in the ring." And then Paul Heyman's in the ring, gives a grand introduction, a massive introduction to Brock Lesnar, the Beast of the Broctagon, Brock Lesnar, the Viper Slayer, and he comes out, and everyone was chanting. There wasn't any talk of the what's it called, enhancements. Obviously, I believe it was just a pay-per-view thing, and then they just repeatedly suplex City. They say, if you're still mad about Brock beating Undertaker, get over it. And then they just talk shit about Randy Orton. Heyman does another good job, but Heyman, he's out of contract, and I hope he resigns. And then, yeah, they just say Orton will never hit the RKO. Then, you know, Orton just goes ahead and hits the RKO out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. He just runs in. Even though he's on SmackDown, he still hit the RKO. He still came on Raw. Then he ran through the crowd after the RKO, went all mental. Some guy was trying to take a selfie with him. Heaps of security and refs came out, and Stephen Foley came out saying, "Get him out! Get him out! Shane McMahon, you little bastard! You're not my brother! Get him out!" And then fans, everyone's like, "RKO!" And then, you know, Lesnar's down. He's getting back up. He's on one knee. Raw goes down after. Orton is like, "Ugh." And yeah, that's Raw. So even though we had a brand interference, we had freaking Jinder Mahal. That's the worst part of the night. And yeah, overall decent show. Fair few matches. Let me know what you thought of the show. I reckon the best part was probably, honestly, I'm not too sure, but maybe the beatdown from Gallows and Anderson, or the Balor Rollins segment. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Hope you all have enjoyed, and peace.